We've been working to get more information on breaking news tonight concerning former Chicago gang leader Larry Hoover. President Trump commuted his sentence earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, this really came as quite a surprise today and raises a lot of questions, including why now and also what comes next for Hoover. Our investigative reporter Chuck Gowdy is here taking a much closer look at this. Chuck?
Steph and Allison, President Trump tonight cutting loose Larry Hoover from multiple life sentences. Federal law enforcement officials say Hoover was and is atop the notorious gangster disciples, calling the shots, literally. In the 80s and 90s, his gang earning more than $100 million a year from cocaine and heroin, much of the profit, they said, straight into Hoover family members' pockets. Tonight, Hoover and his family celebrating a victory that once seemed impossible.
It's very important for me to get Hoover out because in an alternate universe, I am him.
Celebrity lobbyist Kanye West in the Oval Office urging President Trump to grant the Chicago gang bosses freedom. This meeting during the president's first term, an indicator of just how long this free Hoover effort has been underway. Tonight, 7 years later, comes commutation from the president. The former gangster disciple leader known as King Larry will be released from the Supermax prison here in Colorado, home of the nation's most dangerous criminals, where Hoover has been serving multiple life sentences for operating a drug gang enterprise that enforced deals and rules at the barrel of a gun. I spoke about the commutation with former Assistant U.S. Attorney Ron Safer, who was lead federal prosecutor on the Chicago case against Larry Hoover.
All he had to do was order a shooting, and it was done. Order a beating, and it was done. Order a drug area to be controlled or attacked, and it was done.
So as the man who led the federal prosecution of somebody who had that kind of power, how could any amount of time locked up be enough?
It's difficult, Chuck, to say that there's any amount of time to this crime. This man was the undisputed leader of the largest monolithic gang that this nation has ever known. The gang had at its peak 30,000 members in 28 states.
And so tonight, Larry Hoover's supporters wait to see the reverse of this video. The last time Hoover was incarcerated in Illinois nearly 3 decades ago, being turned over to federal authorities. When Hoover is turned back to state authorities here, he will also go back into state prison, where he is to resume a 200-year sentence for murdering a gang rival in 1973. That, however, is a case in which he's eligible for parole, so it may just be a matter of time before Larry Hoover is indeed back on the streets that no one expected him ever to walk again. How quickly that happens depends on how fast the 74-year-old Hoover can get a parole hearing on his state of Illinois convictions and whether Governor Pritzker might serve up a commutation as President Trump did today. No, the governor's office has not responded to NBC Chicago regarding that possibility. We'll wait and see.